Hey guys, this is Suraj. In the previous session, we have discussed what is the difference between DBMS and RDBMS, and we have discussed the components of table. Today, we will discuss the SQL data types, and it is one of the most important topic in SQL. But before going to start, what are the SQL data types? Let me tell you why do we need data types in SQL. So in yesterday class, we have discussed the components of table. Okay, there are some columns which is 5 columns: agent code and agent name. So while creating a table, when you define a column, you have to specify the type, or we can say data type of each column, so that you restrict the particular column. Okay, that means, for example, if you create a column which is agent name and you define a data type like char, that means you specify that column. That means you can only insert in that column only the character values or string values. Okay, for example, if you create a column commission and you define a data type like float, that means you specify, or I can say you restrict that particular column. That means you can only insert a float values. That means you can't insert string values. That's the need of the SQL data. That means you restrict the particular column to specify the value. That means you can only insert those value, those data type which we have specified in that column. Okay, so in agent code, you can see there's something between there's some character value or numeric value. That means in that particular column you can only insert that type of value. Okay, the type of this column is varchar. We will understand what is varchar and char. Okay, just understand why do we need SQL data types. In a summary manner, I can say when you create a column in your table, you specify a data type in each column so that you can restrict that particular column. Okay, for inserting the values. So that's the thing I have discussed right now till now. So let's start the topic of SQL data types. There are a lot of data types in SQL, but we will learn only frequently used data types in SQL, so that for example, while creating a table, most frequent data types we will learn. Okay, so the first data type is integer. As you can see, the integer means you can store only whole numbers in that column. For example, if you specify a column marks, and you specify data type in each column like integer, that means in that column you can only insert the integer value. That's the integer data type. And the second one is float. For example, if you create a column marks and you specify data type is float, that means in that column you can only insert a decimal value, or I can say float value. There are some examples you can see. And the third is char, and the fourth one is varchar. What is the difference between varchar and char? Char stands for fixed length characteristics and varchar stands for variable length characteristics. In char, you can store only character value, or I can say string value. But in varchar, I can give you an example. In varchar, you can store a special symbol. Also, you can store character value. You can store integer value. You can store both numeric and character value. Okay, mix up. Like in agent code, as you can see, in agent code you store the numeric value also or character value also. That means in that column you specify the varchar data type. Okay, so what is fixed length string and what is variable length character string? Let's understand with the help of example. As you can see, this is example of character fixed length string. Let's say you define a column subject name, and in the subject name you define the data type, or I can say specify data type char, and the length of this char data type is length. And while you inserting the value like python, html, schema dot or rg, as you can see, python need only 6 length string and html need only 4 and schema need only 10, but you specify 9. That means in memory only we need 6 length of string, but you specify a 9 length of string. That means there are 3 length of string which remain you know blank, and it contains only spaces, and we, as you can see, we waste our memory in our we waste a space in our memory. Okay, and as you can see, HTML need only 4 length of string, but you define 9. That means for the remaining like 5 spaces which waste in the memory. So in a character, we padding the extra length of string with the help of spaces. Okay, we are padding, okay, like extra spaces with the help of space. But in schema, like for example, schema need 10 but you specify 9, that means you can't store the schema.org in that, in memory. Okay, but in varchar, for example, in varchar, you specify a varchar. Let's say example, I specify a varchar. Okay, the length of this varchar is 20, but while inserting a value like Python HTML Linux server, Python need only 6 and HTML need only 4 length strings, but Linux server need only 12. As you can see, Python needs only 6 length of string, and it contains only 6 length of string without padding any extra spaces. In memory, it takes only 6 byte of spaces, and HTML need only 4 length of string. That means in memory it takes only 4 byte of space, and Linux server only need 12 byte of space in memory, and it does not pad with extra spaces like in char we pad the extra spaces. Okay, so that's the difference between varchar and char. I hope you will all get. And the next the type is date. In date we store the only dates without times, and in time date type we store only time value without dates. As you can see example. Okay, this type of value we can store in that column. In this type of value we can store in, that column. Date time means we can store both time also and date also. Okay, boolean means we are storing the true or false values, and decimal also known as numerical. Decimal means we are storing a fixed point numbers. Let's give an example. For let's say if I say marks is my column name, and I define the data type is decimal 5,2. What does it mean? For example, let's just assume you got 1 2 3 4 my 4 let's say 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 5 marks. Okay, okay, and you define two arguments. You pass two arguments 5 comma 2. What does 5 means? Your total value is 5, and 2 means in the last two value, and before the last two value you specify a decimal. Okay, that means because you specify a second argument is 2, that means in the last two value you specify a decimal value before the last two value. Okay, if I say like 6 comma 4, a total is 6 value, but you specify the second argument is 4, that means last 4 value, before the last 4 value you specify decimal. That means before the decimal it contains 2 value, and after decimal it contains 4 value. That's the thing in decimal data type. Okay, so there are more data types in SQL, but we are learning only frequent data types we use in while getting a table. Okay, I hope you all get. And the type is changing according to database. I mean to say software. Okay, if you are working if you are working on SQL server, so maybe in SQL server there's a date time. Okay, so it depends which type of software you are using. So according to there's some little bit changes in syntax. So I think most of the 90% would be same. There just a 5 to 10% would be change in syntax and code. Okay, if you know this concept, you can easily grab those concepts also. You can understand very easily. Okay, so I hope you all are getting the SQL concepts in data types. So we will meet in the next class. If you have any doubt in SQL data types, you can feel free to ask in the comment box. And if you have any doubt in the previous classes we have discussed like database and DBMS and component structure, you can ask in the comment box. Okay, so till now, take care and bye bye. We will continue in the next class. Okay, keep learning and happy learning.